Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. The restaurant hummed with soft jazz, dim lighting casting intimate shadows across the tables. Olivia adjusted her silk dress, her fingers brushing the rim of her wine glass as she waited. Across from her sat Ryan, flashing that signature confident smirk that sent a thrill down her spine. Tonight wasn't just dinner. It was an escape. Ryan had whisked her away to this secluded spot, promising her a night where the world melted away. No prying eyes, no risks. Or so she thought. She had taken her time tonight, longer than usual, perfecting every curl in her hair, ensuring her lipstick stayed flawless. The thrill of secrecy made it all the more intoxicating. Ryan excused himself to the restroom, leaving Olivia to sip her wine. She wasn't worried about how long he was taking, at least not at first. Then, her phone buzzed. Ethan, her husband. Her heart stuttered, her throat tightening as she hesitated before answering. "Yes, honey," she said, voice smooth as silk. "Where are you right now?" Ethan's tone was calm, too calm. A chill ran down her spine. "Oh, just catching up with some friends from the design firm," she said lightly. A pause. Then his voice came through, laced with something sharp and unforgiving. "Turn around, Olivia." Her blood ran cold. She turned slowly, scanning the restaurant until her eyes landed on him. Ethan sat at a corner table, watching her, a slow wave of his fingers making her stomach plummet. The predator had spotted his prey. Ethan's presence was a storm brewing in the corner of the restaurant. Olivia's fingers curled around the stem of her wine glass, her brain scrambling for a response. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" she whispered into the phone, still too afraid to look directly at him. "Change of plans," he said. "Thought I'd grab a quick bite. But imagine my surprise when I saw my wife looking a little too cozy with another man." Olivia's pulse pounded in her ears. She searched for an escape, for a way to manipulate the situation. "Well, what about you? Who's that sitting with you?" she countered. "Oh, her." Ethan chuckled. "That's Jessica, my lawyer." Her stomach twisted violently. Ethan rose from his seat, making his way toward her. The world seemed to tilt. She could feel the weight of eyes on her, the restaurant growing quieter with each step he took. And then, just as Ethan reached her table, Ryan reappeared, completely unaware of the storm he had walked into. Ryan, ever the charming fool, slid back into his seat with a smirk. "Miss me?" he asked, completely oblivious to Ethan standing behind him. Olivia barely had time to react before Ethan placed a firm hand on Ryan's shoulder. "You must be Ryan," he said, voice dripping with an unsettling calm. Ryan stiffened. His smirk faltered. "Who the hell are you?" Ryan asked. "Oh, just Olivia's husband." The color drained from Ryan's face. He turned to Olivia, confusion shifting into sheer panic. Ethan took his phone from his pocket, casually tapping the screen. The audio recording began to play. Ryan's voice, smug, overconfident, filled the restaurant. "Man, Olivia, she's wild. If I'm not careful, she might break me. She bounces like crazy, man, the things she does." Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Ryan looked like he had been punched in the gut. Olivia's stomach dropped, her hands trembling as she clenched the tablecloth beneath her fingers. Ethan smiled, cold and sharp. "So, Olivia, tell me again how this is just a friendly dinner." The silence in the restaurant stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Olivia's fingers trembled around the stem of her wine glass, her face frozen in a mask of forced calm. But inside, panic clawed at her chest, tearing through the walls of control she had so carefully built. Ryan, on the other hand, sat like a man whose life had just flashed before his eyes. His once confident smirk had withered into something lifeless, his fingers twitching against the tabletop. He shot Olivia a glance, one that screamed accusation. "This is your mess. Fix it." Ethan watched them both with a quiet, almost terrifying amusement. His confidence wasn't the false bravado of a man acting in the heat of the moment. It was the poise of someone who had already won. He had been planning this. "Well," Ethan said, swirling the last remnants of his drink in his glass, "I think we've all had quite the evening, haven't we?" He turned to Ryan. "You were about to say something before you ran out of words." "Go ahead, buddy." You had so much to say in that recording. Surely you're not shy now. Ryan's mouth opened, but no sound came out. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed hard, glancing toward the door as if considering running. Cat got your tongue. Ethan smirked, tilting his head. That's a shame. Olivia's mind raced. Damage control. Salvage this. But her usual charm, her ability to talk her way out of anything, felt useless now. Her voice wavered when she spoke. Ethan, let's not do this here. She tried to sound calm, but the tremble in her words betrayed her. Oh, I think this is the perfect place, he said, leaning back. You see, I've spent a long time playing the devoted husband, the trusting idiot. But tonight, his lips curled into a cold smile. Tonight, we're rewriting the script. His gaze flicked toward the waiter, standing awkwardly nearby, unsure whether to approach. Check, please. The words sent Olivia's stomach plummeting. Ethan, she started, but he had already reached into his wallet and tossed a platinum card onto the table. His lawyer, Jessica, merely smirked, watching Olivia with the sharp, quiet interest of a hawk circling prey. I should be generous, Ethan mused, eyes glinting. After all, Olivia had such a lovely night planned. A fancy dinner, expensive wine. I wouldn't want to leave her with nothing. The last word dripped with meaning. Olivia caught the hint of it, but it wasn't until the waiter returned with Ethan's card and an apologetic look that real fear clawed up her spine. I'm so sorry, sir, but seems your card has been declined. The entire restaurant seemed to pause. Olivia's breath hitched. What? Ethan feigned surprise. Now that's odd. Jessica simply smiled knowingly as Ethan reached into his wallet and pulled out another card. He handed it to the waiter, locking eyes with Olivia as he spoke. Try this one instead. It's the only account she still has access to, after all. The word sent a tremor through her body. No. The waiter took the card and disappeared once more. Olivia's hands clenched under the table, her pulse hammering. Ethan, she hissed, barely managing to keep her voice down. What did you do? Oh, sweetheart, he said, voice dripping with false sympathy. You didn't think I'd just let you play me for a fool forever, did you? Her vision blurred at the edges as realization sank in. Ethan had cut her off, not just from him, but from everything. The walk to the car felt like an eternity. Olivia could feel Ethan's presence behind her, the weight of his unspoken words pressing against her skin like a brand. Jessica had left first, her work done for the evening, leaving the couple alone in the suffocating silence of the city night. The sleek, black car gleamed under the dim streetlights, its presence a cruel contrast to the unraveling chaos inside Olivia's head. She reached for the door handle, but before she could, Ethan's voice sliced through the quiet. Not that one. She turned, her breath catching. What? Ethan leaned casually against the side of the car, his expression unreadable. That's my car. You won't be needing it anymore. A sinking feeling settled in her stomach. Ethan, stop playing games. Let's just go home and talk about this. Home, he echoed, letting out a soft chuckle. See, that's the problem, Olivia. You keep using words like home as if you still have one. The cold truth in his voice sent an icy shudder down her spine. What are you talking about? She snapped, desperation creeping in her tone. Ethan's smirk deepened, but his eyes were razor sharp. Your keys, he said simply, holding out his hand. Her heart stilled. You're not serious. Olivia. His voice was quieter now, but no less deadly. Hand. Over. The keys. She laughed, but it was hollow, laced with disbelief. You can't just kick me out of my own house. Your house. Ethan stepped closer, his voice dangerously soft. Sweetheart, whose name is on the deed. Her stomach twisted. She had never cared about the paperwork, had always relied on Ethan to handle those tedious details. And now it was being used against her. Ethan, don't do this. Oh, I already did, he murmured, taking a step forward, forcing her back against the car. You just didn't see it coming. Her hands curled into fists. So this is your revenge? You think cutting me off is going to break me? She forced a laugh. You really believe I need you to survive? No, Olivia, Ethan said, stepping back, his face unreadable. I don't think that. I know it. And with that, he turned, walked to the driver's side of his car, and got in, leaving Olivia standing on the curb, her world crumbling around her. The night air was suffocating. The sound of Ethan's car pulling away echoed through the emptiness, each rev of the engine sinking her deeper into her own despair. Her hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. She dialed Ryan's number. Voicemail. She tried again. Voicemail. Damn it. Ryan, pick up, she hissed, her voice teetering on the edge of panic. But Ryan wasn't answering, and she knew, deep down, that he never would. Her phone buzzed. For a split second, hope flared in her chest, until she saw the name on the screen. Jessica. Her heart lurched as she hesitantly accepted the call. Olivia. Jessica's voice was smooth, practiced. I just wanted to let you know, your credit cards have been revoked, your bank account is frozen, and your business investments? Well, let's just say they're no longer in your name. The world spun. Olivia staggered against the sidewalk. You can't do this, she whispered. Oh, but we already have, Jessica said. You should consider finding a place to stay tonight. I hear motels have lovely rates. The line went dead. Olivia's knees nearly buckled. Her chest heaved as she gritted her teeth, nails digging into her palms. Ethan hadn't just left her. He had destroyed her. But as the fear curled inside her, something else slithered in. Something darker. Something dangerous. Revenge. Olivia might have lost this battle. But the war? It was just beginning. The cold night wrapped around Olivia like a noose, squeezing tighter with every realization. No car. No money. No home. No allies. She had spent years crafting her life into something enviable. Charming husband, luxurious lifestyle, a reputation that commanded admiration. And in a single night, Ethan had obliterated all of it. She stood on the sidewalk for what felt like an eternity, her fingers curling in a fist so tight that her nails bit into her palms. The weight of betrayal pressed against her chest, suffocating her with its sheer finality. She had underestimated him. She had always thought Ethan was predictable, the kind of man who played by the rules, who wouldn't dare strike back. But she had been wrong. So wrong. This wasn't just revenge. This was annihilation. Her phone buzzed again in her trembling grip. A text. Jessica, you have 24 hours to vacate the house. Legally, it's no longer yours. Don't make this harder on yourself. Olivia's entire body trembled. A sharp laugh, one laced with hysteria, bubbled up in her throat. Jessica, the smug, calculated lawyer who had likely been in Ethan's pocket for months. A woman who clearly enjoyed watching her burn. Another text popped up. Ethan, hope you enjoyed dinner. Consider it my parting gift. Her vision blurred with rage. Ethan wanted her gone. He wanted her to crumble, to disappear, to vanish like she never existed in his world. No, she refused to give him that satisfaction. Her heart pounded, her mind whirling. There had to be a way out, a way to strike back. Olivia had always survived. She had clawed her way through life, seduced her way into power, manipulated every situation to her benefit. She wouldn't die here, not on the curb like some abandoned animal. She needed leverage, and she knew exactly where to get it. Olivia knew she couldn't go after Ethan blindly. She needed power, and if there was one thing she had learned about men like Ryan, it was that they cracked under pressure. She spent the next 3 hours tearing through Ryan's life, his emails, his bank records, even the hidden stash of cash he had tucked in a drawer. She found everything. A history of unpaid debts. Evidence that he had stolen from his previous employer. Fraud. Ryan was just as much of a snake as she was. And now, he belonged to her. She stood over him as he sat on the couch, his face pale with realization. You're going to help me, she murmured, or I'll make sure your life crumbles before mine does. Ryan clenched his jaw. And how exactly do you plan on doing that? She smirked. By making Ethan regret the day he ever thought he could break me. Ryan exhaled sharply, running a hand over his face. This is suicide, Olivia. Ethan is 10 steps ahead of you. He's already won. Not yet. Ryan stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly he nodded. What do you need? Ryan wasn't loyal, but he was useful. Within days, Olivia had a new plan. A plan that would make Ethan pay in a way he never saw coming. She used Ryan to get information, real information. Ethan's secret accounts, his other investments, the woman he had moved on with. Ethan thought he had destroyed Olivia, but he had made one fatal mistake. He had underestimated her ability to rise from the ashes. And this time, she wouldn't just take revenge. She would ruin him. Olivia had always been a woman who could adapt. When life threw obstacles in her path, she found a way to twist them in her favor. Ethan thought she was finished. He thought stripping her of money, property, and dignity would break her. But he underestimated her. And now, she had the one thing she needed most: information. Sitting across from Ryan in his dingy apartment, she flipped through the files he had pulled up on his laptop. Offshore accounts, unreported transactions, a new real estate purchase under a woman's name she didn't recognize. A slow, dangerous smile curled on her lips. "So, Ethan's been a busy man," she murmured, scrolling through the details. "And he thinks he's untouchable." Ryan shifted uncomfortably on the couch. "Olivia, I don't know what you're planning, but—" She cut him off with a sharp glance. "You don't need to know." She closed the laptop, standing tall. "You just need to do exactly what I tell you." Ryan exhaled, rubbing his temples. He knew better than to argue. He owed her, and she wasn't going to let him forget it. Olivia had to see it for herself. She wasn't the type to take action blindly. She needed proof. And so, 2 nights later, she found herself sitting in a sleek black car outside a high-end penthouse, watching as Ethan stepped out of a luxury vehicle with another woman on his arm. The woman was beautiful, younger, polished. Olivia's stomach twisted, but she swallowed down the anger. This wasn't about jealousy. This was about revenge. Ethan had discarded her like she was nothing, like she was just a temporary amusement. He needed to learn. "Who is she?" Olivia asked, her voice sharp as she turned to Ryan, who was sitting in the driver's seat. Ryan didn't look at her. He just kept his eyes on the building as he replied. "Her name is Naomi Foster. Investment banker. Just moved to the city a few months ago. She's clean. No scandals. No dirt." But Ethan's already put her name on 2 of his new businesses. Olivia's lips pressed into a thin line. He was building a future with another woman. She wasn't going to let that happen. "Find me everything on her," Olivia said coldly. Ryan hesitated. "Olivia, are you sure? She's not the one who ruined your life." "No," she agreed, her gaze locked on the woman who was now laughing as Ethan led her into the building. "But she's part of it now, and that makes her fair game. A month." That's how long Olivia spent weaving her plan, building it thread by thread, until Ethan's entire world rested on a foundation she could shatter with a single move. She had always been good at manipulation. But now, she had nothing to lose. And that made her unstoppable. The first blow was subtle. She sent an anonymous tip to the firm where Naomi worked. A whisper about suspicious business dealings. Nothing concrete, just enough to put eyes on her. The second move was bolder. She arranged for Ethan's largest investor to receive an email, one detailing a pending lawsuit that didn't exist. Fear spread like wildfire. Investors started pulling back. Ethan's businesses, which had looked untouchable, suddenly seemed fragile. And then came the final act. Olivia made sure Naomi found out about her. Not through gossip, not through rumors, but through a carefully placed conversation between 2 women in the same upscale cafe Naomi frequented. Olivia sat at a table near the back, her posture relaxed as she casually spoke to the woman across from her, a hired actress who played her part perfectly. "It's just sad," the woman sighed. "He completely destroyed his ex-wife. Took everything from her, just tossed her aside like she was garbage." Naomi, sipping her coffee just a few feet away, froze. She wasn't supposed to hear, but Olivia made sure she did. "And now he's got this new woman, Naomi or something. God, I hope she's smarter than the last one. I hope she knows what he's capable of." Naomi stiffened. The doubt had been planted. And Olivia? She smiled. It was only a matter of time. Naomi was smart. Olivia could already tell. She wasn't going to ignore the thing she had heard. And she was right. Within a week, rumors began swirling. Naomi started asking questions. She started doubting Ethan. And Ethan? He was losing control. For the first time, Olivia saw him struggle. Meetings started getting canceled. His once unshakable confidence wavered. He started watching his back. And then, the moment Olivia had been waiting for, Naomi left him. Not with a dramatic fight. Not with screaming accusations. She simply walked away. And with her, she took millions. Because Olivia had made sure that Naomi wasn't just Ethan's lover. She was his largest financial liability. And when Naomi disappeared, she took every last dollar she could get. Ethan was unraveling. Olivia watched as the man who had once held all the power suddenly found himself drowning. His companies were crumbling. His investors had lost faith. His reputation? Destroyed. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, Olivia appeared, not as the broken, desperate woman he had left behind, but as the woman he never saw coming. She stood in front of him at his now nearly empty office, watching as he stared at her, his once sharp eyes filled with something he had never shown her before. Fear. Miss me? She murmured, tilting her head. Ethan exhaled sharply, shaking his head. You don't win, Olivia. She laughed. Ethan, she said, stepping closer. I already did. And as she walked away, leaving him in the ruins of the life he had built on her destruction, she felt something she hadn't in a long time. Power. Because in the end, she didn't just get revenge. She took everything, and she did it with a smile. Ethan sat in his nearly empty office, the weight of his downfall pressing into his shoulders. The space that once hummed with power and prestige was now a shell of what it used to be. His assistants? Gone. His investors? Fled. His fortune? Vanishing like smoke in the wind. And Olivia? She had done this. The woman he thought he had crushed under his heel had risen from the ashes and set fire to everything he built. His hands curled into fists as he stared at the last remaining document in front of him, a foreclosure notice. His penthouse, the one he had so smugly taken from Olivia, was now at risk of being seized. His accounts had bled out. Even the business ventures under Naomi's name had collapsed, thanks to Olivia's careful interference. He had nothing. The final stab in his back. Jessica, his trusted lawyer, had abandoned him. She had sent him a final message the night before. Jessica, I no longer represent you. I suggest you get comfortable losing everything. Ethan exhaled sharply. Damn you, Olivia. But even as he muttered the words, there was a grudging admiration beneath the bitterness. She had outplayed him, and now he had no choice but to face her. Olivia sat in the private lounge of one of the most exclusive bars in the city, a glass of champagne resting between her fingers. She looked flawless, powerful. When Ethan finally arrived, she didn't bother standing. She simply smirked and gestured toward the empty seat across from her. Well, she said, taking a slow sip of her drink. Look what the wind blew in. Ethan pulled out the chair and sank into it, his movements stiff. He looked exhausted, shadows under his eyes, the sharp lines of his face heavier with stress. But he still had the nerve to glare at her. How much do you want? He asked, voice rough. Olivia arched a brow. Oh, Ethan, she said, setting down her glass. That's cute. You think I did all of this for money? His jaw tightened. You took everything. No, she corrected, leaning forward slightly. I just made sure you lost it. There's a difference. Ethan's fingers tapped against the table, a frustrated sigh escaping his lips. What do you want, Olivia? She tilted her head, pretending to think. Then she smiled, a slow, knowing smile that made him tense. I already have what I want, she said simply. His brows furrowed. You just wanted to ruin me. Olivia chuckled, shaking her head. No, Ethan. I wanted you to feel exactly what I felt when you left me with nothing. I wanted you to wake up every day knowing that everything you built, everything you thought made you powerful, is gone. I wanted you to experience what it's like to be discarded, to be treated like you were worthless. Ethan's breathing was uneven now. So that's it, he asked, his voice quieter now. You got your revenge, and you'll just walk away? She stared at him for a long moment, then shrugged. Yes. And then she stood. No dramatic speeches. No final threats. She had already won. Ethan could do nothing but watch as she walked away, her heels clicking against the marble floor. He had no power over her anymore. She had become untouchable. 1 year later, the city skyline stretched before Olivia as she stood on the balcony of her new penthouse. The life she had rebuilt for herself was better than the one she lost. She had thrived. The business Ethan thought she couldn't survive without, she had rebuilt it, stronger, smarter, and without him. The network he tried to cut her off from, she had made better connections. She had everything. And Ethan, word had spread. He had been forced to sell everything. The investors who once lined up for him now refused to even return his calls. And Naomi? She had disappeared the moment his money did. Now, Ethan was just another washed-up man with nothing left. Olivia sipped her wine, the cool night breeze caressing her skin. For the first time in a long time, she felt at peace. The war was over, and she had won. Just as Olivia was settling into her new life, an unexpected name flashed across her phone screen. Ryan. She smirked. She hadn't spoken to him since the final stages of her plan. Curious, she answered. Ryan, she said smoothly. To what do I owe the pleasure? His voice was lower than usual, almost nervous. Ethan's looking for you. She raised an eyebrow. Oh, and why would I care? Because he's not just looking to talk, Olivia, Ryan said. He wants revenge. She chuckled, shaking her head. Ethan lost. He knows it. What can he possibly do? Ryan hesitated. He's not the same, Olivia. He's desperate, and desperate men do stupid things. A slow, dangerous smile stretched across her lips. Then let him try. She ended the call, tossing her phone onto the table. If Ethan thought he could take another shot at her, then he had forgotten just how ruthless she had become. She wasn't the same woman he had walked out on. She was stronger, and if he came for her, she would destroy him again. Only this time, for good. Ethan stood outside in the pouring rain, staring up at Olivia's penthouse with a burning hatred in his eyes. She had ruined him, and no matter what it took, no matter how long he had to wait, he would find a way to return the favor. But what Ethan didn't realize was that Olivia had already anticipated his next move, and when he made his move, she'd be waiting.